guys? Hope you're doing well. Now I'm going to start this new series called Bronze School. Now this is going to be a series where I teach you guys basic ways to improve your skill in Starcraft 2. As episode 1, I'm going to go over the very basics of how to improve your game. Hope you guys enjoy. There are 3 things that can help you improve your game. 1. Mechanics. 2. Knowledge. 3. Information. Mechanics being how well you control your micro and your macro. Knowledge being how you understand the game. Information being how you can obtain it and how you interpret it during a game. Alright, let's start off with mechanics. Macro is the most important part of gameplay and is the first thing you should focus on. Here's a basic checklist of what you should be looking for to improve your macro. 1. Keep your resources low. Unspent resources are useless. 2. Check your supply. Make sure you can always produce more units. 3. Constantly build workers. This is particularly important in the early to mid game. You need to be expanding your economy. And lastly but not least, number 4. Constantly build units. Make sure you're nearly constantly building units. This is important because if you don't have any units, you will die. The second part of mechanics is controlling your units, also known as micro. Some basic techniques for good micro control are 1. Using attack move. Because when an army attacks you when you're moving places and you aren't attack move, your army will lose vital time and positioning when it comes to army trading. Number 2. Using control groups. Using 1 or more control groups will help you when you control your army. And number 3. Queuing up commands. When moving a unit, a good way to save time is to queue up commands. Part 3 of mechanics. Build order. Build orders are the basic building block of Starcraft strategy. It helps, especially in the Bronze League, to know what you're building and when. But of course, if you get something like 6 pooled or cannon rush, it is very important to deviate from your build order. That way you can survive. Before jumping into a game and trying out a build order, there are 3 things that you should probably do. Number 1, study the build order and understand how it's supposed to be executed. Number 2, repeat the build order in a custom game by yourself until you really know it. Number 3, learn how to execute it under pressure. Have a friend or someone else from a higher level than you play against you and see if you can still perform the build under psychological stress. And the 4th and last thing about mechanics is speed. Speed can help you just increase your game overall in every area. There are 3 things to help you increase your speed. Number 1, know what you're going to do. Number 2, repetition. Number 3 is push yourself so it becomes routine. And that about sums it up for mechanics. Let's review. Macro, micro, build orders, and speed. Alright, time for part number 2, knowledge. Basic knowledge of understanding units and races is vital. First thing about knowledge is timing windows. Timing windows are when you have an edge over the opponent. For example, when Stimpack finishes and you have lots of Marines and Marauders, you have an edge over the opponent and this is your timing window. Another timing window would be when you have the upgrade advantage. Also, study your opponent's timing windows so you know when you might need to defend. Number 2 of knowledge, analyzing replays. If you analyze your replays, you can learn from both your wins, but most importantly, your losses. 3 things to look for in your replays: your mechanics, your knowledge, and your information. Mechanics. Did you execute your build properly? Knowledge. Did you not know how to counter the build you faced? 3. Did you fail to scout your opponent properly? Another way of analyzing replays would be watch pro replays. If you can analyze a pro's playing and look at what even they did wrong, it can really help you in your game. Alright, that sums it up for part number 2, knowledge. Let's review. The 2 things that are most important in knowledge is timing windows and analyzing replays. Part number 3, information. The most basic form of information is knowing what units counter what units. This is important when knowing what to build when you can scout your opponent properly. Which leads into my next point about early scouting. The earlier you scout, and more frequently that you scout, will give you an edge over the opponent because you know what he's doing. Last but not least, mind games. The use of mind games is an advanced tactic, where you show a piece of tech to your opponent while opting for something else. Hopefully this will force your opponent to overreact, or leave him without a unit composition to counter what you really have. And that about sums it up for information. Let's review. Knowing units, early and frequent scouting, and mind games. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Generate Starcraft. And as always, feel free to add anything in the comments below. Or you can critique my video, and I really appreciate any feedback I get. So I thank you in advance if you guys say anything in the comments that can help me improve my videos. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Generate.